Hey there, it's Jonathan from Enigma Photos. I have a lot of images that I need to work on, and I thought, you know what? Why not just record yourself while you're working on these images? So it might help you in your editing journey. Editing. I don't know. Sometimes it's kind of funny. What's easier, taking the picture or editing the picture? Depends, I guess, on the situation. But today I'm going to edit this hummingbird picture that I took. I have a buddy up in Estes Park. His name is Don Van Horn, and a phenomenal photographer. In fact, I'll link his website at the in the video in the comments. But he's extraordinary in his talent. But what's really cool is he has a shop up in Estes, and he sells his photography, sells his photos. But he also has a little sanctuary in the back where he shot many of his amazing hummingbird pictures. And it's a great place to go. He and I are friends, so it makes it easier. And it's a great place to go in the spring and summer to capture some amazing pictures of hummingbirds. So here's one right here. We'll look at it real quick, the information on it. I shot it with a D500, 7200 lens, f2.8, the newest one. ISO was 800. This was at 200 millimeters. F10 was the aperture, and 1 and 250 seconds was the shutter speed. I also used a flash on this too, and this one a little hot. Little guy was probably a little bit closer than what I was used to at this point in shooting, but that's okay because we can come into Lightroom, which I'm using right now, and fix it. The first thing I'm going to do is bring down exposure a little bit because it was a little hot. Secondly, I'm going to still bring down highlights just a little bit, and I think that looks nice. I'm going to boost contrast now just for a little bit of separation between the background and the hummingbird. And I like that. I don't think we really need to do anything with the shadows. I think everything in here is pretty well lit, and we've got some contrastiness to it. Whites. The cool thing about whites, if you hold down Option on Mac, you can actually see when you push it a little bit too far. You can see right where the flower is there, the blue's starting to show. So I'm going to push it back a little bit, maybe right there, and that gives it a little bit of pop. Same thing with blacks. You can see everything that's very dark automatically. But usually with this, I kind of like seeing it by eye, and that gives it a little bit more contrast. I'm going to come down to vibrance, and let's see. Boost it a little bit, maybe about here. That looks nice to me. I usually don't mess with texture or clarity. Sometimes I'll boost it up to 10 here, but I can also do that in Photoshop, which I'll show you in a minute. I'll boost it up to about a 6. And one of the first things I didn't do, but I usually do, is go into optics, remove chromatic aberration, and also lens correction. So let's look at it. Kind of like it. Other things that I do sometimes, I print a lot of my images, and I feel like when you print them, hummingbirds really look cool and square, so one-on-one. This picture, though, I kind of like. I might crop it in just a little bit from this side. Let's see what this looks like. I kind of like that. That looks cool. So at this point, once I've done all the little adjustments to it, I will go ahead and I feel like I'm getting old because this changes every year. There it is, edit in Photoshop. So I'll wait for it to export out to Photoshop. And boom, there we are. Now in Photoshop, close this little Nick software, quick display. What I will generally do in Photoshop is just like a little bit of cleanup if I need to do cleanup. As you can see, which is really cool, you can see the pollen from the flower covering them. And if you shoot them enough, you'll see a lot of it. They'll be completely covered. It looks like a little snow. What I'll do is just little goofy things like this here. I'll go into spot healing, make it a little bit smaller, kind of follow it, and get it to there. And boom, that cleans it up very nicely. One other thing I do, just to separate the hummingbird, is I will go ahead over to the elliptical marquee tool. I will put it around the hummingbird. Then what I will do is open up a curves layer. With this curves layer, I can adjust the area that I selected, but I really don't want to select that area. I want to do the inverse of it. So I'll hit Command I, and if you watch right where this layer is, here in the curves, it does the inverse of it. So now I can do kind of a controlled vignette with it. So it'll darken all the areas around the hummingbird, but not the hummingbird itself. And it kind of makes it stand out better in the picture. And I like that. I like that a lot. So what I'll also do is hit Command Option Shift E, which will take all of this and put it into another layer. And I will go up to Filter, go to Other, and I'll hit High Pass. This is how I sharpen things. So on your screen, it might be hard, but you can see where it picks out all the detail. And you can see it here as well. And that's what I want. Pick out the detail, because what this will do is sharpen it. This is the way I usually sharpen everything. From be it cars, models, hummingbirds, animals, doesn't matter what it is. It's usually how I sharpen it. And you can see it does a great job in bringing out the detail. We'll bump it up a little bit so. That's before, that's after. It's a little trick that I learned. I can't remember who I learned it from or what YouTube video I watched. But again, I'll show you again. It does a really amazing job. Just a quick thing. For me to save onto social media, generally at this point, I'll save 2 copies. I'll save a huge copy for the printer. And then I'll save one for social media. So I'll show you kind of real quick how I do that. Generally the long side, I will always put at 2048. For most social media formats, that's kind of like the standard size. And it'll give you, for me, been doing this for years, to me it makes my pictures look best on places like Instagram. And then you don't want to put something too huge, because there's certain sites that don't have security and someone could download your picture and print it off. So I usually keep it at 2048. So what I will do is I'll go into Export, so File, Export, and then I will go to Save for Legacy. And it's already set up. For you, it might not be set up. The most important things, JPEG, quality, I usually do about 90%. You really can't tell the difference. It'll make the file smaller. But what I'll make sure I do is bilinear for resampling. All the other ones seem to kind of make it too sharp, but bilinear for me makes it just the perfect sharpness when it down-reses it to that size. And then all I'll do is hit save. You save it to your favorite folder, the folder name uploads or whatever you want to, and then you bump it up and put it on social media. I hope this video has helped. I will be doing many more videos showing exactly how I edit things, and I hope you have a wonderful day.